Hello, everybody. Once again, want to thank you to Momentum Monday, powered by Move the Ball podcast and Destination Health podcast. I want to welcome my co-host today. She has written a book, Move the Ball. We're going to discuss a chapter in this book today. Welcome, leadership expert and attorney and my friend, Jen Garrett. How are you today, Jen?
Hey, good morning, Dan. It's great to be here on another Monday, and we're ready to gain some momentum.
Let's gain some momentum. I need momentum this week, and we all need momentum this week. Sometimes life throws you a curveball, right, Jen? And we
Absolutely.
have to deal with that. And so I'm ready to deal with all the curveballs that have been thrown at me all weekend long. And let's get this going. So tell me, how was your weekend? How are you? Did the Bears win?
The Bears play today, so
Today? Okay.
we're looking for a victory, but we shall see. They play the Rams, so it should be a good game.
What is their record? What's the Bears' record?
The Bears are 5-1 and currently top of the division. Knock on wood.
Oh, we won't talk about the Giants, but anyway, because they're the opposite. So if you were to get the newspaper and put it upside down, they would be 1-5. So if you flip the newspaper upside down, they would be first in the division from the bottom. If you flipped it. So anyway, so we were talking about last week. Are you with me? And let's just go over that really, really brief because this is important. What does that mean? Are you with me?
Yeah. So what Are You With Me means is that no matter what you do in life, you have to have a team around you that's going to help propel you forward. And so when you're looking at accomplishing anything in life, whether it's business related, career wise, or just in your personal life, you need to have people that are with you. And so you don't necessarily have to ask someone right out, are you with me? But that's kind of the thing, right? Are people with you as you're looking to move forward? And if they're not, then you got to make those changes. You got to push those people to the sideline and get the right people on the team with you. And that team is going to change no matter what goal you're doing too. And you'll have different people on your teams for different goals.
And I think that's important because not everybody's going to be with you for this one particular goal and that particular goal. So you're going to have different individuals. And I think that's an important point. This is a great segue in what you just said to go into this week. And let's talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to your teammates. And who do you want on your team, Jen, right? I mean, it is so vitally important because I've always read that those that are closest to you are generally the ones that are not with you, right? So let's talk about those that you should have on your team. What are some of the characteristics? Who are you looking for? Who are the good people?
Yeah. So who you're looking for are people that are aligned around your objective, for one. So people who are committed to that goal as well. They may not be someone. So you want people like teammates at work, for example, that are committed to the goal. They could be other people that aren't necessarily, it's not their goal, but they're committed to it to help you get your goal, if that makes sense as well.
Yes.
So that's one. Second, you want people that are going to, keep you uplifted, challenge you, push you to figure out, hold you accountable also, to push you to really, move forward and get closer to that goal. And then thirdly, you want to have people that have done what it is you're trying to do so you can leverage their expertise, their mentorship, their guidance, their coaching to really help you avoid maybe some of the common pitfalls or mistakes that other people make trying to pursue the same goal.
You know what? I think that is so important. And anybody at any age can really learn this, right?
Absolutely.
It's just not an adult such as you and I, although that's arguable whether we're adults or not, right? So, it could be anybody. And what you've just said is interesting because I've been communicating this to my son in school and on playing hockey, and his coach has been communicating this exact same thoughts. And you say here in your book, Bear Bryant has 3 rules for coaching. Surround yourself with people who can't live without football. So to extrapolate that is surround yourself with people who can't live without the goals that you have, right? Yes. Recognize winners. You want winners. You want winners. Have a plan. Have goals set for everything that you do. I think that's important. And I think that, Coach Bear Bryant was one of the favorites back in the day, right? And he was
Yes.
just phenomenal. He was just phenomenal. So I think that's important, to have those with you on your journey when you're going through life. Isn't that correct?
Absolutely. And it's interesting. I've done a lot of speaking events, not as many in person in today's day, but I talk about this concept. And sometimes people will say, well, that's great, Jen. I hear you, but that's not realistic in the workplace because we don't get to choose our teams all the time. So, yeah, if it's a personal goal or your business, you have that control. Sometimes you kind of inherit what you have in the workplace. So, how do you do that? And it's really recognizing the skills and the competencies of the people that are on the team with you. If you're not in a position to make any roster changes, quote unquote, then it's how can you pull out the best of the people that you have to work with. And
Oh,
not everybody,
100%.
yeah, and not everybody's going to be an A player, right? You're going to have some B's and some C's, but it's again figuring out how can you leverage their strengths and their skills to complement the rest of the team so that you can continue to make that progress that you're looking for.
You know what? And I think that's so important because you as an individual, you can have a positive influence on your coworkers, right? Even though you may not be able to, select who they are, but if you have a positive influence and you have and if you can motivate them positively, and you can help them along and they can help you, it works out, very nicely. In my offices, this is exactly what we do. We influence people. We have a positive impact on them, not only at work, but we hope that it goes to their life, goes to their family, it goes to anything that they want and anything that they're considering for their goals. So yeah, you know what? You have to have those individuals on your team
Mhm.
that will help you out. You want the good. Okay, Jen, let's go to the bad and the ugly because not everybody is going to be looking out for your best interest or even their best interest. Who should we stay away from? This is equally as important.
Absolutely. And so you have to have the courage to make the tough calls when you need to make them. And in the book, I talk about how coaches do this and they cut people that sometimes are very talented too. So it's not
Mhm.
like they didn't have the skill, but you really have to assess is if you're in a position to be able to make those cuts. Sometimes that's true in the workplace, maybe not, but you absolutely are able to do that in your own life and in your business if you're a business owner. And so you need to evaluate, are these people best for the team, not only in terms of functional competencies, but leadership style, personality? Are they the right fit? We've
Mhm.
seen time and time again players that have been cut because they're a quote unquote distraction, right, to the team. They're not helpful to the team's continued winning and
Mhm.
progress. They're more of a distraction. So if there are
Right.
people in your life that are distractions, they're causing too much drama and you to lose focus of what you're trying to do, it's time for those people to be minimized, meaning you don't necessarily have to sever all ties with them, but maybe you kind of limit your interaction with them in the short term or long term, whatever, while you're working on this thing that they are distracting you from. Now, there could be other circumstances where they're just so toxic or so negative and detrimental that you do have to say, you know what? It's time for us to go our separate ways because I can't have this kind of energy in my life or whatever. So you really have to take a hard look at those people that are consuming your time and your energy on a daily, weekly, monthly basis and
Mhm.
evaluate, are those the right people that you want to be interacting with on a frequent basis?
And I think that's very important. And when I coach Little League or any other sport, I'm always trying to, and I didn't even realize it until I'm reading this book, move the ball with the girls and the guys that are on the team. And there was one year that I was coaching, and I was the head coach, and my son was on the team because they always do that. And there was this one individual, and it was the assistant coach, and his son was really talented, really the best on the team, Jen. However, it was all about him, and he was that toxic individual. And so at one point in time, I minimized his role on the team. The assistant coach got really upset. And there was another young man that was on the team. And this was his first year playing baseball. Never played baseball before. Never played sports before. Family was a great family. The director said, I want you to take him on because I know that you're going to spend some time with him and help him along. So he started to play a bigger role in on the team. And we were still winning and we lost. So there's always a lesson in losing also. And we were still winning. And I just said to the other coaches, I want this individual, I want him to hit the ball. And I want him to feel the ball. I'm teaching, I'm working. And lo and behold, mid-season, he whacked one out of the infield and he didn't know what to do, but he was just so happy. We told him to run to first base. He could have probably had a triple the way he hit that ball. And eventually the talented individual, he got the lesson that he needs to be a teammate with everybody. Mm-hmm. And he was able to come back and he played a bigger role. And we were homogenous as a team, and the toxicity went away. We had somebody on the hockey team last year that was somewhat toxic, and the head coach was making sure that we were coming back next year, and we were talking about it. And my thought was, listen, no matter what happened with this young man who is toxic, if you will, if you can use this as a head coach to change his life and to be a positive force in his life, I said, I think he stays on the team. There are people who want him off the team. He's a good player. What can you do as a coach, right? To make it make him a better individual. So we won the national championship, and this young man was a large part of it. And this year he's stellar on the bench. And so it was a learning lesson for him. So what are your thoughts on those lessons, even for young, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think those are lessons that you need to learn at a young age, because the things that we learn as kids are the things that we take into our adulthood. And yes, you can change your behaviors, but I mean, if you can learn these lessons earlier in life, then you're just going to go farther so much quicker.
Yeah, you know what? And coach's rule here on page 22, know who is with you, know who is not. Know who is toxic, know who is not. Sometimes you just have to sever those ties. You don't like to see it that way. However, there are times that you have to sever. And that's just the way it is. So tell me more about when your son was playing, because I know that we were discussing that last week. What was one lesson that he learned when he was playing?
That's a great question.
I threw a curveball to you today, just a little bit, right? That's okay. We're friends. It's all good.
Oh no, it's great. I mean, you got to be able to think on the fly too, right? So
right.
I think one lesson that he learned was everybody has a role on the team, whether you're out on the field or you're on the sideline. Quote unquote on the bench, because my son was not a starter. And so he learned that, I mean, everybody contributes, whether you're watching and, feeding, hey, this is what I see, right? The defense is doing this. And it's so there. And I've had guys on my podcast that play in the NFL now that have talked about how when they were injured and not in the game, they were able to contribute more so, and they learned more from it, but because they could see what was going on in the field and they could feed that information back to the guys that were out there. And so everybody has a role, whether you are on the field at that moment or not. We all as a team have a role to play. And I think that's something that he learned from playing football.
Yeah, that's also great. That's also great. And if he wants to have a bigger role or a different role, at least you can get motivated then to say, what do I need to do to work to get to that goal? That's the way life is. That's the way. And this is what we're talking about. Life. This is the way life is. And this is how you move the ball. And this is how you figure out who's toxic for you and who isn't toxic and what do you need to do. In your chapter, you have a nice quote by Vince Lombardi. He's one of my favorites. I know he's a favorite of yours. All right. The measure of who we are is what we do with what we have. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, it goes back to what we were talking about earlier about how not everybody is going to be an A+ player, right? And so you have to use the team that you have. If you cannot make those cuts and changes, also in our life, you have to play the hand that you're dealt too, right? And use the cards that you have now maybe you can swap those cards out later or they change, but you have to play with what you have at the moment. And then you make adjustments as you're able to, but looking at, okay, what do I have to work with? How can I leverage the situation, the people, the talents in a way that is most effective for me to accomplish whatever it is I'm looking to achieve?
Right. And as you can see, Jen and I, we are committed to doing this each week. We're committed to moving the ball. We're committed to being on each other's team, right? I mean, we're committed to helping those individuals out. So I think that's great. So tell me, any last thoughts before we go off? I think we're almost at the 20-minute range. We go quick. Once we start, it just goes, Jen.
Yeah, I mean, I think the important takeaway is when you're evaluating who should be on your team and who shouldn't, it's really about who is going to help you the most to, again, this is outside of necessarily the workplace where you can't change your team. Who are the people that you can really include in your inner circle to help you achieve whatever it is you're looking to get after? And those people, so I'll just share real quickly, when I decided to go be an entrepreneur, I completely changed my inner circle. That doesn't mean I severed ties with all these other people that I had known in the corporate space,
right.
But they were not entrepreneurs. So they were not the people that were going to give me advice or guidance on how
right.
to have a successful entrepreneurial career. So I had to shift that. I still stay in touch with them. I don't talk to those people as frequently because, as we all know, we only have so much time in the day, right? But the people that are on my entrepreneurial team are very different because it's a different set of skills. I need different position players, if you will, to help me to move forward. And so I think it's important as you're switching out different goals and priorities change. Sometimes the people in that inner circle need to shift. And it's not because the other people are toxic or negative. They're just not the right people that you need to be interacting with on a very frequent basis for this goal you're trying to achieve.
Right. And life changes and friends change. And it's not that they're not your friends anymore. It's just that if you have a different goal, you may be working towards that at this particular juncture. I have one more quote, and I wonder who said this. The best way to be successful is to make others successful first. Who said that?
Oh, I don't.
You said that 3 days ago on LinkedIn. So tell me, so tell me, how does that tie in to what we're saying? You want to help others be successful. So if you want to be on a winning team and you don't want those toxic individuals, you want to help them out, be successful. Correct. I love that quote.
Absolutely. It's not just about you. It's about what can you do to help other people. And when you focus on serving others, I do believe people will also help you, will serve you as well. So it's absolutely about making sure that you're on other people's teams and focus on how you can add value to the world around you, to the people around you, not just about what you're trying to accomplish.
100%. I love that. So Move the Ball by attorney Jen Garrett. Please, this is a fabulous book. She's a leadership expert. She's an author. She's an attorney. She's my friend. We love doing this mini podcast each week, Momentum Monday. This is a great book. I recommend this book to all of our listening audience. Next week, we're going to do a little something different, Jen. So why don't we have a little segue? What are we going to discuss next week?
Yeah, so 2020, as we've talked about before, has been a crazy year. And so I was really thinking about, well, what can I do to make an impact in the fourth quarter to try to end the year on a positive note and bring light and positivity to other people? As we talked about, it's not just about you, right? It's about serving others. So I've got a fundraiser initiative, something we're looking at doing in 8 cities across the US to make a difference specifically for women's shelters who are victims of domestic violence primarily. So I'm looking forward to talking more about what we're doing in the month of November to try to help make a difference. Would love to get anyone listening involved and participating in our cause. And so, yeah, I look forward to talking about that more next week.
I think that's a great and worthy cause. And we're going to be discussing that week, and we're going to be looking for help from all of you, all of our listeners out there. And I think it's a worthy and it's an important cause. So I want to thank everybody for listening. Jen, thank you again. I hope it's warmer where it is where you are, because New Jersey's pretty cold right now. Chicago's cold too, right?
Yeah, I'm in my house in Chicago, so you see a different background. This is not a Zoom background; it's my house. And so next week, I'm actually heading back out to California tomorrow. So I'll be back on the West Coast, probably sitting outside when we do our next live. And so it's about 40s here. It's a little bit cool.
Yeah, it's cool
It'll be
here.
it'll be warmer in California.
Yeah, I think I'm coming to California next week, and I'm going to. I'll be on the other side of the house. You could be on one side because it'll be nice and warm, and we can do that. Want to thank everybody for listening this week. Again, Move the Ball by attorney Jen Garrett, leadership expert. Please purchase the book. Until next week, move the ball. Jen, thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone. We'll catch you next week.
Take care. Bye bye.